Hi, I'm Stephanie. I just graduated from college and I'm still single. My mother keeps telling me it's time for me to get married and have children. It's time to settle down, that kind of stuff. I assured her it was only a matter of time until I'd find the right person. But I knew that wasn't true. I rarely had time when I was in college, and after getting this new job, it's been all about work and home and nothing in between. I haven't been on a real date for years now. All my friends are married and most of them actually have kids. Not one, they have two. It gets hard trying to fit in at the dinner table. I feel left out. So I decided to get back out there. When I told one of my friends, she told me there was a big event being hosted at this diner she went to. It was a mix and match dating game, and she had watched it before and thought it was a fun way to meet new people. She told me to dress my best and meet her there the next Friday night. That night, I dressed my best, splashed on some floral perfume, and left the house. When I reached the diner, I took a deep breath and strutted through the door, trying to project an air of confidence. I was shocked to see how many people had turned up to the event. When I first heard of it, I actually thought it was for losers who have nothing good to do in their lives. Well, I guess now I fit in that category as well. My friend and I sat aside and listened to the host explain the rules. The women were told to sit around at their tables, and the men would go around and speak to each woman for 3 minutes. When the buzzer would sound, the 3 minutes would be over, and it would be time to move on. I counted all the contestants, which numbered to 8 women and 9 men. My friend urged me to go sit at one of the tables, and although I was a little shy and hesitant at first, I went and sat down as the 9th woman on the line. The buzzer rang, and I sat down with the first man on the line. He said, "Hello there, sweetie pie," which was sweet, except for the fact that he was much, much older than me. Potential husband? No. Potential grandpa? Definitely. The second man came and sat down. I watched him scratch his head the whole time. When we talked, I realized he was really fascinated with hair. He kept telling me how he would take care of his luscious thick hair. I also thought his hair was pretty impressive, just until the buzzer rang. As he was about to get up, his whole hair shifted on his head. He was wearing a wig. Finally, on the third buzzer, I found myself sitting with a decent-looking gentleman. We spoke for those 3 minutes, and I found out he was divorced and he had 6 children. Pass. The fourth man came and sat down. He watched me intensely with big wide eyes. He didn't blink a single time. Even when he was sneezing and blowing his nose, he was staring at me. He just might be a serial killer, or at least a psychopath. I sat there and peered back at my friend, who was giggling at one of the tables at the bar counter. I was beginning to lose hope of ever finding a perfect match, and this was definitely not the way I was going to find Romeo. The buzzer rang and the fifth man sat down. He had a potbelly that was bursting out of his shirt, and sweat rolled down his forehead. I kept squinting, fearing one of his buttons was going to burst off and shoot me right in the eye. The man could barely breathe just from the walk over from the last table to mine. I held my face and shook my head as I listened to my friend burst out in laughter and pound the counter in the back. She was definitely going to pay for this. The sixth man was attractive, but he didn't talk much. I realized he didn't even speak English. The seventh had caught my attention. He had come wearing a nice suit and his hair was brushed back. He came and shook my hand and complimented me on how great I was looking. We spoke about our studies and career. I thought I found the right match, just until the buzzer rang and he got up. He walked to the next table as I watched him wearing shorts with his suit. When the eighth reached the table, I threw my hands up in disbelief. I could see that he obviously had way too much to drink, and he curled up into a ball on the table and started snoring loudly. I was sure I had just about enough, I was contemplating on going home and sitting on the couch with my dear soulmate, the sofa cushion, and watch a romantic comedy. Just then, the final man took his seat. I don't know if it was a sheer coincidence, but he was the most handsomest man I've ever seen. He had a nice hairdo, and he wore fashionable clothing. He spoke eloquently, and he even made me laugh a couple of times. I couldn't stop looking at him every time I heard his sweet laughter. He gave the nicest smile and shined his pearly whites. His name was Bond. James Bond. Just kidding. His name was Logan, and he was just a few years older than I. He was tall and fit, and I could guarantee that his charming smile could make any girl fall for him. I wondered to myself, how was it that a perfect man like him was still single? We ended up talking until nearly midnight, when the diner was about to close. He asked me for my number, and we arranged to go out on a date the next evening. I called my friend and told her what happened. I couldn't believe I had actually found a decent guy at the event after all. The first few dates went very well, and we started dating regularly. Over the weeks, our relationship progressed pretty quickly. It all seemed as if we were made for each other. After about 8 months, he proposed to me, and of course, I said yes. After the wedding, I moved out of my apartment and began moving all of my things into his house. Where am I supposed to keep all of my old books? I have like 10 boxes filled. He laughed and picked up a box and said, "Relax, I'll take them down to the basement tomorrow, while you're at work." The next few months of our marriage went by in bliss. We never grew tired of each other, and we cherished every moment we were together. One day, Logan told me he was heading out to get some groceries. Just before he was about to leave, I told him I needed to get one of my books from the basement. Logan told me, "Oh, the door is locked. Just wait for me to come. I'll get them out for you." When Logan left, I became a little curious. I noticed he always came up with some excuse or the other when I spoke about the basement. I would see him going down every day, right before he went to bed at night and early in the morning. For just a few minutes, he would go and come back. Over the days, I started to wonder, why? Why wouldn't he let me, his wife, know what was in the basement? Did he have another wife in the basement? Or lots of them? Or what remains of them? Maybe I had started to think too extreme. Maybe he had some exotic plants, or a pet he'd be giving food to. Or what if it was worse? What if someone else was in the basement? I was going crazy. I had to know. I even tried to break in, but I couldn't. I started looking for every opportunity. One day, I got lucky. Early one morning, I found my bed empty. I searched the house and heard a noise coming from the basement. I walked down the narrow stairs and found the door creaking open. As I slightly opened the door, I caught a whiff of something. It smelled refreshing. I walked in and found Logan standing there. Shocked, he said, "What are you doing here?" What I saw next made me fall to my knees. What have I done? The families of Stephanie and Logan assembled to mourn at Stephanie's funeral. People were expressing condolences to Logan for his loss. Stephanie's aunt couldn't believe her niece was no more. Stephanie was such a strong woman. How did this happen? Stephanie's mother wouldn't stop crying since she got the news. She turned to Logan and pointed her finger. "It was you. You did this to my daughter. You killed her. Tell me what you did to my strong daughter to make her heart fail." Stephanie's aunt scooted her mother away from Logan and tried to calm her down. Stephanie was such a strong woman. I really don't know what caused her heart failure. I wish I knew the answer of this mystery. What could horrify a strong woman so much to cause heart failure? Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.